Okay, we're live. Awesome. Alrighty. I'm not really sure how this works as far as uploading the live video to my channel, but we are live. This is Toe Meets Leather College Football Podcast. It's only the 5th episode. I didn't get to record. Well, I recorded on Friday, but we had technical difficulties, so it didn't work. And Sunday, we had issues as well, and then Tuesday I got in a car accident. So we've had a rough time trying to continue the podcast, but here we are, back again, and we're finally live for the first time. So I'm excited. We don't have any viewers yet on the live, but we'll see how this goes. It says I'm live, but I don't see a place where I'd be able to end it. Maybe I should look into this real quick. What does the ad mean? Let's see. How do I end this? I don't know. I guess you just press the X mark. Okay. Well, we're gonna do a real quick episode. We've got places to be, but I wanted to review this weekend of games because a lot of people aren't gonna think that this is a great weekend of games with top matchups and ranked teams necessarily. But college football is great every week, so we're gonna have some great games that people are gonna be caught off by, and they're gonna, people are gonna be caught by surprise, especially with upsets. Because it's college football. I'll start off with my rankings first. So we did SEC and ACC rankings. I haven't got a chance to... Did somebody join? Terry joined? Oh, shoot. Hold up. How do I reply? We'll pin his message because I don't know how to reply to it. But, what's up, Terry? So anyway, I got my SEC and my ACC rankings that I did last week. Didn't get a chance to post a podcast on them. So just keep in mind that these were before the last weekend of games. I have Georgia at number 1, Texas at number 2, Alabama at number 3, Tennessee at number 4, Ole Miss at number 5, Missouri at number 6. And that's my tier of teams that I think can make it to the SEC title. And I think all of those teams can win it except for Missouri. And then outside of that tier, I got LSU at 7, Oklahoma at 8, Arkansas at 9, South Carolina at 10, Vandy at 11, Texas A&M at 12, Florida if DJ Lagway starts at 13, Auburn at 14, Kentucky 15, Mississippi State 16, Florida if Graham Mertz from week 1 starts at 17. And I got time to explain. So I think Carson Beck, he didn't show it in the Kentucky game, but everybody has their off games, and I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I think he's an elite quarterback still, even though, one game he didn't show his elite ability, but he still had some really good passes down the stretch to make sure they won. And the rest of the talent, it's just a Georgia roster. The run defense and the defensive line isn't as elite as they want them. They're not up to the standard. But even with so many guys down, they still won that Kentucky game, which is crazy to think about. Just how many starters and crucial guys they had down there. Texas, I think, is number 2. Well, now I'm debating, but last week I thought they were number 2. They're so good in the trenches because they've recruited those offensive and defensive linemen through high school, and that's what changed them because they've always really had that elite, elite receivers and edge players, but players out wide and just skill players in general. Alabama, I think, is number 3. They have good first strings, but the depth isn't there yet. It's only year 1 under Kalen DeBoer. So obviously they're not going to have depth from past recruiting cycles from Kalen DeBoer because so many guys transferred out of there when Nick Saban left. So they're still a really solid team. I got Tennessee at 4. And just be mindful that these are all from last week, and I haven't got a chance to change them. So don't come after me too harshly, please. They're really stout on defense, and a lot of people won't recognize that until they play a marquee matchup, which they'll be playing Oklahoma, and a lot of eyes will be on them this week. But when they play like Georgia or Alabama, you'll see that that defense is, not just a wet paper bag like it has been in past years. And then Nico's obviously a game changer for them, and their run game is still good, and a lot of people don't give them credit for that either. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin offense, and then a lot of good portal additions on defense. I think they're really good. Missouri, Brady Cook is really experienced, and he's back again. And then they just got good coaching all around there. LSU has better defense, I thought, and then I saw the South Carolina game. I thought they've shored up tackling, and I thought they could make open field tackles better, but they did not show that against South Carolina. But the offense was still really good, and Garrett Nussmeier is a dog. I mean, he's made some crazy throws that a lot of he shouldn't be able to make, but he just does. And he showed it in the South Carolina game. He made some really great throws. Oklahoma, they have a lot of O-line injuries and just injuries in general, so that's my big concern there for them. But I think if they get healthy, they can be a really solid team. Arkansas, solid, and they're much improved from last year. But seeing them against Oklahoma State, I thought they outplayed Oklahoma State. They just ended up losing. But I think they're still a really good team and a lot better with Petrino as the offensive coordinator. And I think they have a really good shot at having a good year and Sam Pittman not getting fired. So that's a pleasant change of events for the Razorbacks. South Carolina, I might move up next week because of how they played against LSU, and they have a really good defense, really good rush. It's fun to watch. And depending on whether Lenore Sellers can come back will be what South Carolina's limit is this year, because Lenore Sellers makes their offense so much better. He's got such running ability, really good running ability, but he can also rip a ball and put it in tight windows. Maybe not the best decision making, but he's confident in what he does. And I think if Lenore Sellers doesn't get hurt in that South Carolina LSU game, South Carolina wins. So Sellers just needs some time. I don't think he's a freshman. I think he's a sophomore, but still, first year starting. Vandy, I made these rankings when Vandy was still undefeated, but I still think they have a dynamic dual threat, and they've closed a lot of the talent gap, but maybe not as much as I thought because they lost to Georgia State. But you also may remember maybe a week or two ago, when Georgia Tech played Georgia State. Georgia State's roster looked really talented, so I wasn't too thoroughly surprised that Vandy lost, and I wasn't like, Vandy's still Vandy. Georgia State's a really good team. It's just Jason said Vandy to the chip. Vandy's a good team, I think. And if they can just, have a defense, maybe they can rattle off a couple wins in ACC play at least. But Diego Pavia is still really good, and their offense clicked against Georgia State. Just the defense couldn't help them out at all, and they lost that one close. Texas A&M, I said here, if Wegman is good, then they can be good. Well, then we watched them play Florida, and Marcel Reed was dynamic with his legs. And he also made some crucial third down passes. Now, it is Florida's secondary and an injured Florida secondary, but still, I think Marcel Reed looked really good. And I think if Wegman can get his shoulder feeling better, then maybe he'll be able to pass better than we've seen so far. I don't know what they'll do there, but I have a feeling they might ride the hot hand and just go with Marcel Reed. Terry said, gotta go, bud. Keep the channel up. Best channel on YouTube. I love it, Terry. Thank you. I'll see you later, Terry. So, yeah, Texas A&M at 12. Florida, I thought they looked a lot better against Samford with DJ Lagway. And then the 2-quarterback system was not working with a freshman quarterback who has only gotten one start. So I don't know what to make of it for Florida. I think Napier will probably get fired. I still think he's a really good coach. I just think maybe he doesn't have the best strategies or coaches in there that, Kirby or the top tier teams would have. But I think I think the players I think that's the problem is the players just have terrible attitudes in general. I mean, maybe not this year so far. I don't know. We'll find out next week. But it's just it's interesting with Florida. But anyway, I thought they had hope against Texas A&M, but obviously they didn't. Still not a lot of offensive rhythm at all, and then defensive secondary still banged up. Not looking very hopeful. I can't even remember who they play this week, but I'll get to that later. Auburn, I said Peyton Thorne is why I had him at 14, but now Hank Brown's starting, so maybe Auburn can beat Arkansas this weekend because Hank Brown looked the offense actually had rhythm with Hank Brown. I know it was in New Mexico, but I don't know, it just looked a little different. And he doesn't even seem as good of a quarterback as Peyton Thorne as far as throwing speed, throwing motion, running. Like, he doesn't have the dual threat ability that Peyton Thorne does to take off. But Peyton Thorne made some terrible decisions against Cal, so that's why he got benched. Kentucky, I said still poo offense, but I think they looked a lot better against Georgia, and I'd say that it was week 1 against South Carolina. Well, was it week 1 for them? I can't remember. But anyway, it was their first Power 4 game against South Carolina, and they got embarrassed. So they were going to come out guns a-blazing against Georgia, and I think they scouted for Georgia maybe during that South Carolina week because that was what they were pinning. They were looking at that game for a big win, and they almost got it. Credit Kentucky's defense. I think they were being slept on just because of how many points South Carolina ended up putting up. But I think Kentucky's got a solid defense, a solid O-line. I don't know. I like some concepts they ran against Georgia. I don't know if it's because Georgia was running man and their offensive coordinator was calling better plays versus man, but it looked a lot better. Mississippi State, it's just a new coach in the first year, and they're a pass offense. Not going to be able to run the ball. So there's going to be some dry spells where you're going to go 3 and out real quick, put the defense right back on the field. It's going to be tough on the defense if that passing offense just can't immediately get going. And then Florida, again, I put him at 17 with Graham Mertz from week 1. He looked a lot better against Texas A&M than he did against Miami. I don't know. There's just, he didn't even play that bad. It's just the Florida offensive play callings. For me, I feel like they could be a lot smarter. Let's see who's... never mind. But that's just what I think. So there's my rankings for the SEC. I might post those. I might start posting stuff on my YouTube. Anyway, ACC rankings. I need to hurry. I don't have much time. But Miami at number 1. Clemson at number 2. Louisville at 3. Syracuse at 4. And that's my top tier. I think those 4 can win the ACC. And I think Georgia Tech at 5 and Boston College at 6 could make it to the ACC championship, but maybe not win it. And then I just wrote jumbled mess of teams who I don't know what to think about for the rest of the ACC teams because it's a lot of the same caliber type teams in my opinion. Just from what I can see, and I just need to see them all play each other. I mean, you saw Virginia and Wake Forest. It was a 1-point game last week, or 2 weeks ago, where maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Virginia won 31-30. So it's hard to make out what these teams are so far, just because there's lack of conference games. But I have NC State at 7, Cal at 8, Florida State at 9. I'm gonna drop them. This was, like I said, this was before this past weekend. Stanford at 10, Virginia at 11, Pitt at 12, North Carolina at 13, Duke at 14, Virginia Tech at 15, SMU at 16, and Wake Forest at 17. Like I said, those numbers really don't matter. They're all in the same little tier, in my opinion, right now. So there's my rankings. I really don't have time to go into my reasons why for the ACC ones. Got like 5 minutes left. Sorry, it's a short show. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I did get in a car accident. Oh, no, I did mention that. My bad. Anyway, but yeah, that's what the bruise and the stitches are from. But and that's why it's been hard for me to get the podcast out again. So we're going to go over some games real quick. Just give you an idea of the overview. Stanford and Syracuse play tonight at 7:30. As I like to say, the battle of the S's, because they both have that S logo. It's basically the same, except Stanford has a tree in the middle of theirs. So that'll be interesting. It's at Syracuse, and that's a conference game, which is so weird to me. And Syracuse is favored by 9. I wouldn't be surprised if Stanford made this game a little ugly, because they had, from what I saw against TCU, they have a solid defense. Kyle McCord is the quarterback for Syracuse, obviously. LaQuint Allen is the running back for Syracuse. He's really, really tough runner. Gadsden, the tight end for Syracuse. Just some names to know there. Illinois and Nebraska play tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox. 2 ranked teams. So there you go, a ranked matchup this weekend. And it's at Nebraska. And I forgot to mention, I don't know if I mentioned that Syracuse game is at Syracuse. But anyway, Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, obviously the quarterback there. Dowell is the running back for Nebraska, and then Bryant is the wide receiver with the most yards for Illinois, so be watching out for those guys. I do want to say a quick word about South Alabama beating App State at App State 48-14. So South Alabama is somehow 2-2. I haven't checked their schedule, but they're 1-0 in the Sun Belt, so they must have played like some Power 4 teams or something, because they've absolutely destroyed the last 2 teams they played. They played Northwestern State and beat them 87-10, and then they beat App State at App State, of what some consider a really good Sun Belt team and probably a favorite to win it. Well, not anymore probably, but anyway, they beat them 48-14 at App State. Like, South Alabama's cooking right now. Cooking with grease. Aguilar is the quarterback for App State, and I don't think he had, and this was last night, I don't think he might have had 1 touchdown. Yeah, he had 1 touchdown. Bothwell was a running back for South Alabama, and Robinson was the wide receiver for App State. And now the Saturday slate, Clemson plays home against NC State at noon on ABC and ESPN+. And Clemson's favored by 18.5. I'm not really thinking this is going to be a super close game. I think Cade Klubnik will get his feet under him here, and I don't think NC State's all that we made them out to be in the preseason. So I think Clemson will win this. I'm picking number 21 Clemson to win it. Florida at Mississippi State, noon on ESPN. I did know they were playing this game. And this is probably the 2 ugliest teams so far in the SEC playing each other. As far as just like, both of the teams are ugly in the fact they don't look good. They're not smooth on offense. Defense isn't stopping a fly. And it says right here, tickets are as low as $49. So if you want to go. I saw something on Twitter yesterday. Dan Mullen sent that out, and he said, and somebody commented the Mullen Bowl because he coached at both of those places. So I thought that was a little funny. Florida's favored by 7, even though it's at Mississippi State. I don't know what to make of this game. I'm going to pick Florida. I'll be interested to see if they go with the 2 quarterback system again and just alternate them each drive like they did last game. And Blake Shapen's the quarterback in Mississippi State. I think he played. Was that the one that played at at Syracuse, and did he transfer? No, there's a different guy. Montrell Johnson Jr., running back for Florida, and then Coleman is the wide receiver from Mississippi State to look out for. Other games. Let's see. There's not a lot to break down. Oh, USC plays Michigan at 3:30 on CBS. I knew that. And USC is number 11, Michigan's 18, and USC is favored by 4.5. Although a lot of people are probably betting that line for USC, so that might rise before game time to like 6 points or so, because there's a lot of faith in that USC team after that week 1 game against LSU, and I wouldn't put all of my eggs into this one basket for this game as far as for betting, because Michigan is, when they get embarrassed, usually they come back with some fire and some juice, and that defense plays lights out. And we'll see if that happens again, but we'll definitely see. I'm gonna pick USC to win it though. I don't think Michigan has the offensive firepower to pull the upset, even though they're starting Alex Orji instead of Warren. So they're switching quarterbacks. That gave some people hope in the Michigan fan base, but I don't think they'll be able to win it outright. Maybe cover, but I'm going to take USC to win. Miller Moss, obviously the quarterback at USC. 1 second. Okay. Mullings, the running back at Michigan. Loveland, the tight end at Michigan. UCLA is going to LSU. Not a lot of people are circling this, but I just think it's interesting that LSU is playing both Los Angeles teams in the same year, and I think UCLA will get drugged by LSU, but it's just I wouldn't put all my eggs into this basket either. LSU is favored by 21.5, but UCLA, let me see what they did last week. Oh, never mind, they got blown out by Indiana. I take back what I said. LSU will drag UCLA, and I would put all my eggs into this basket. So anyway, next game, what we got? Oh, Georgia Tech at Louisville, number 19 Louisville. This game, Louisville is favored by 10 points. Joe said Christopher Powell Jones. Shout out, Joe. Shout out Secure Records. Georgia Tech is coming off a win over VMI. Louisville, they probably played easy game as well. Let's see. Yeah, they beat Jacksonville State 49-14. Louisville is shaping up to be a really good team and a contender in the ACC, which I said in my rankings earlier. Sorry for the voice. I'm a little sick. But Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, and Malik Rutherford are the quarterback, running back, and receiver to know for Georgia Tech. I'd be looking for the upset here, because Georgia Tech's just got an explosive offense. You'll never know when they just pop off, and then their defense can stop people depending on how they're playing. And well, I don't know. We'll see how the coaches scout Louisville, because they played them last year in the home opener and lost very close. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. If Louisville is kind of the same offense or not, or if they're doing things different, because there's a lot of different players now. Joe said Tennessee minus 6.5 is the freest bet on the market. Okay. Let me look at that real quick. Where is it? Yeah, ESPN bet's got them at 7. I'd say I'd still take it if I were a sports bettor, because that's a touchdown. I think Tennessee will win by at least 10. Although I don't know. I think Oklahoma is getting a couple of key pieces back this week, and since it's at Oklahoma, first time Nico is going to be on the road at an SEC environment, so it'll be a fun game to watch. That's for sure. Whether Tennessee blows them out or if it's really close, I just like to watch Nico do his thing. So watching a blowout wouldn't be that bad to me anyway. But I would like to watch a good game. Deion Burks is the receiver for Oklahoma, but they're also getting another receiver back. I can't remember his name, but he's they're either their 1 or their 2. Oklahoma's key pieces. 91.7% home win rate. Look at Joe doing his research. He's making me look good right now. So Oklahoma has a 91.7% home win rate. Dylan Sampson, the running back for Tennessee, he'll get his yards, and if he doesn't, then Oklahoma's got a really good shot at the game. And then Nico, it'll be interesting to see if he throws any interceptions or if he gets rattled or anything like that. I don't think he will, but Cal and Florida State. I know Joe really wants to watch this game. It's at Florida State, so another home game for Florida State. After that Ireland trip, they're going to have 3 straight home games. Don't do it. Joe said don't do it. FSU's favored by 2.5. I don't know how. Because you just don't know what you're going to get of the offense from drive to drive. Just skip this part. I'm sorry, Joe, but I have to. I don't know who to pick. Let me look at Cal's offense. It's not telling me. Okay. Fernando Mendoza, I remember talking about him. Javion Thomas and Isaiah Hunter. Fernando Mendoza does not have a great QBR, so I'm going to pick FSU to win it. 16-13, FSU gets a dub. Their offense is bad. They just have Jaden Ott. Yeah, I agree with that. I just looked at the guy's QBR. I don't think their offense is cooking like that. They only beat, I just saw it, just some small team by 31. They've only scored a high of 31, and they've played 2 Cupcakes and then Auburn. So I'm going to take Florida State to win it. Bold pick. Okay. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to take Tennessee to win the game. I don't remember if I said that or not. I'm going to take Tennessee to beat Oklahoma. The Cal-Florida State game's at 7 on ESPN2. That's at Florida State. Tennessee-Oklahoma 7:30 on ABC and ESPN+. Miami plays South Florida. It's at South Florida. There'll be a lot of Miami fans there, of course. I think Miami will win. They're favored by 17. I wouldn't put the upset past them, though, because of Alex, is it Goldschmidt or something? The head coach for South Florida. I wouldn't put the upset past them, but that one's on at 7 p.m. on ESPN. I'm going to take Miami to win. Utah, number 12, Utah at number 14, Oklahoma State. Utah's favored by 1 point, according to ESPN Bet. Cam Rising's back for this game, so I'm going to take Utah to win because I think Cam Rising makes the team a lot better. So let's see, what else? Joe said they upset Auburn, forced 5 turnovers. Yeah, without Peyton Thorne back there, they probably don't win that game. Miami forgets to knee, and USF runs wild. So Joe's giving his predictions. He's thinking USF's going to win. Interesting. I'm going to take Utah to win. All right, I got like Arkansas, Auburn, 3:30 on ESPN. Like I said, Hank Brown starting now. Taylor Green is the quarterback for Arkansas. Jaquindon Jackson, running back for Arkansas. Armstrong, wide receiver for Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to win this. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. What I saw against the lesser opponents, and I know that doesn't mean much, and then the way they outplayed Oklahoma State, and I mean, I know they lost, but they just outgained them and everything. I think they'll get it done, even though it is Jordan-Hare Stadium, one of the most underrated environments, just because Auburn hasn't been good in a little while. But Auburn is favored by 2.5, so I'm going to pick Arkansas to win it. A little upset action according to the spread. What else? Vanderbilt, Missouri play. That's at Missouri. I don't think Missouri will get upset. TCU and SMU play. That's out of conference. At 5 p.m. on the CW network. Oof. That's a lot of close talent. Fort Worth and Dallas there. Two close teams. TCU's favored by 2. I don't have a read on that though. I don't know. Texas A&M plays Bowling Green. I think they'll win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bowling Green upset them. It just seems like something Texas A&M would do. Ole Miss plays Georgia Southern. They're favored by 34.5. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia Southern covered, though. I'm not going to lie. That'd be a sneaky little cover. I might bet Georgia Southern. Well, I can't bet, but in my head. That's 7:45 on the SEC network. Baylor and Colorado play at 8 on Fox. Colorado's favored by 2 points. I really don't know much about Baylor. It's at Colorado. I'm thinking Colorado will win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Baylor won at all, because I think Miranda's a really good coach. All right, that's all I got for today's show. I can't wait to watch these games Saturday. Let's see what else Joe had to say. Miami, no, he already said that. All the Florida fans in the team meeting today. We're roasting Florida State because y'all have a win and we don't. That's funny. Florida and Florida State duking it out for, the second worst team in Florida. That's quite hilarious. I wouldn't leave it past them for sure. That seems like something Florida and Florida State fans would do. All right, that's all I got. I gotta go. I probably missed my ride. But anyway, y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all on Sunday. Hopefully, I might move into Monday and get in a studio instead of just sitting here in my dorm. But y'all have a great weekend. I hope the games are awesome. Thanks for interacting here, Joe and Terry and Jason. And God bless.